Cartesian coordinates were first introduced by French mathematician and philosopher René Descartes in the 17th century. This system was a revolutionary concept because before his time, geometry was primarily done using a compass and straight edge. Descartes wanted to create a unified approach to solving geometric problems using algebraic equations. By introducing Cartesian coordinates, he provided a way to translate geometry problems into algebraic equations. Nowadays, Cartesian coordinates are used in many fields, such as physics for describing the motion of objects, engineering for designing structures, and computer science for creating graphics and animations, like you will see in this video. The Cartesian coordinate system is a grid formed by two perpendicular lines called the x-axis, which runs horizontally, and the y-axis, which runs vertically. The point where the x-axis and y-axis intersect is called the origin, and it is denoted by the coordinate 0, 0. A point in the Cartesian plane, such as the origin point, is represented by an ordered pair of numbers x and y, where x is the distance from the y-axis and y is the distance from the x-axis. As we move the point to the right of the origin, the x value of the coordinate increases, and as we move up, the y value increases. We say that this point has coordinates 2 and 2 because the x value is 2 and the y value is 2. In other words, the point is 2 units to the right of the y-axis and 2 units above the x-axis. Similarly, if we move to the left, the x value decreases, and if we move down, the y value decreases. This point has coordinates minus 1.5 and minus 3. Because the x value is minus 1.5 and the y value is minus 3. In other words, the point is 1.5 units to the left of the y-axis and 3 units below the x-axis. Now that we know how to locate points in the Cartesian plane, let's learn how to find the distance between 2 points. Consider 2 points P1 and P2 with coordinates 2, 1 and 4, 3 respectively. What we want to find is the distance between these 2 points, so we start by drawing a straight line between the 2 points. Let's label this distance as d. To find the distance between 2 points, we can form a right triangle using the 2 points by drawing a line perpendicular to the x-axis from one of the points and a line perpendicular to the y-axis from the other point, such that the 2 lines intersect at a point with coordinates 4, 1. Let's call these sides A and B respectively. The reason we formed a right triangle is because we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the distance between the 2 points. The Pythagorean theorem states that the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the other 2 sides. In our case, the distance d would be the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle since the other 2 sides, A and B, are perpendicular to each other. Now, to find the distance d, we need to somehow find the values of a and b. Let's first define the first point coordinates as x1, y1 and the second point coordinates as x2, y2. The third point can be defined using the x value of the second point because the 2 points are on the same y-axis, and the y value of the first point because the 2 points are on the same x-axis. Now we can define A as the difference between the x values of the 2 horizontal points and B as the difference between the y values of the 2 vertical points. So we can substitute the values of A and B into the Pythagorean theorem like this. Finally, by taking the square root of both sides, we can find the distance between the 2 points. This formula is known as the distance formula, and it is used to find the distance between 2 points in the Cartesian plane. Let's now calculate the distance d between the 2 points using the distance formula. After substituting the values of x and y into the formula, we get distance equals 2.83 units. I hope you are following along so far. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments section below. Distance formula is a very important concept in mathematics, and it is used in many different fields, such as physics for calculating the distance between 2 points in space, machine learning for finding the distance between 2 data points, and many more. Now, let's move on to another important concept in the Cartesian plane called the midpoint formula. Consider 2 points P1 and P2 with corresponding coordinates x1, y1 and x2, y2 respectively. We want to find the midpoint of the line segment connecting the 2 points P1 and P2. Midpoint is the point that divides the line segment into 2 equal parts. Let's call the midpoint coordinates as x and y. Now, to find the midpoint of line segment, we can draw 2 triangles using the 2 points and the midpoint like this. Let's call these new points A and B. The coordinates of A would be xy1 because the x-coordinates of both A and P1 are on the same y-axis, and the y-coordinates of both A and M are on the same x-axis. Similarly, the coordinates of B would be x2y. The angles formed by the 2 triangles are equal because the 2 triangles are congruent. This is because the 2 triangles share the same side and the same angle. Since 2 triangles are congruent, the distance between line segment P2B is equal to the distance between line segment MA. Similarly, the distance between line segment MB is equal to the distance between line segment P1A. Next, we can express the distances between the points in terms of the coordinates of the points like this. Pause the video here and make sure you understand how these distances are calculated. Now we can substitute the values of the distances into the equations, perform some algebraic manipulations, and solve for x and y. This formula is known as the midpoint formula, and it is used to find the midpoint of a line segment in the Cartesian plane. Let's now calculate the midpoint coordinates of the 2 points using the midpoint formula. After substituting the values of x and y into the formula, we get x equals minus 4.5 and y equals minus 2. I hope you found this video helpful. If yes, then please hit the like button and share it with your friends. That's all for today. In the next video, we will look at graphing equations with 2 variables and see how to find the intercepts. Thanks for watching.